Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where the only reason people tolerate cats is because they don't fucking talk. My name is Matt. With me, as always, Bill Barber. How's it going, Bill?
It's going. Had some things come up. I'm not going to say it here, but Matt knows, and yeah, it was bad. But anyways, it's been a week. We're recording later because this week was brutal. This was a brutal week, physically on me. And on Friday, I was halfway through my workday, and I was basically about to collapse. And I was just like, I'm not going to be able to record. I'm so tired. So I was like, we got to do this one Sunday. I'm not going to make it through.
I reread the book too on Friday. The second I read it, I think once on Tuesday, and then I read it again on Friday in preparation. I was like, damn, I'm not reading it a third time.
Yeah,
not in 1 week.
You would have had to carry the episode because I would have been useless. It would have been like a GNC on where Alex is exhausted, and you can tell. Yeah, but I've been through that. We had torrential rain this entire week. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, we had a couple of days where it was really bad, and then a couple of days where it was just kind of off and on. I think this week is supposed to be pretty rainy too. Which, I mean, we've been in kind of a drought lately, so like I can't be that mad about it, but
still you can't be that mad, but like having this much rain in such a short period of time also isn't good.
No, it's not.
We're like flooding over. Yeah, we're like flooding over here, and it's bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was one of those weeks. I've been on a bit of a manga like hiatus recently. Like, just haven't. It's been a dry couple of months for releases. This was like the first like major release month I've had in a while.
Mm-hmm.
A couple months. I did my classic So I went to Barnes & Noble to see if I could get them early because they're not supposed to be out till Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And I didn't find them at Barnes & Noble, but I did end up finding all of DCKO, which also isn't supposed to be out yet. And I was kind of like, oh, I guess I'll grab this early because like I want to read that because I want to understand what the hell's going on in DC right now. Mm-hmm. But then I went to another Barnes & Noble yesterday, and I found the last volume of Black Clover, so that's officially complete.
There you go.
I got the next volume of Kaiju number 8 Relax, the little like kind of goofy like joke spinoff that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't even realize this was out, but I found the first volume of Soul Leveling Ragnarok.
And that's like the follow up, and right, it's
so it follows
like
his
the
son.
Big. Oh, is it that one chick, the blonde one?
Yeah, they did kind of a prelude to it in like the final chapters of the last volume of Soul Leveling.
I never read the last volume.
Okay,
or the last two. I don't even remember what I read too, but
the side stories. Yeah. The Ragnarok follows his son, and it was the first volume. I read it today. I don't know yet about it. It seems like we're redoing everything again. Like it's one of those.
Yeah.
But now Jinwoo is the Shadow Monarch.
I feel like, well, it kind of already was, but like I feel like.
But now he's like
Solo
the
leveling. I feel like Solo Leveling, much like JJK, it doesn't warrant a sequel. There's no reason for one to exist.
Yeah, it's.
I feel like it only got one because it was just so popular that they were maybe pushed into doing it, or maybe they just didn't want to stop and just didn't realize that I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I'll see where it goes. It's kind of interesting. Like I kind of like this weird, like different take on the world, but it also does feel like they're just retelling the story again to a degree. Mm. Only with like a character who's now aware.
Which they already kind of did that after they did the whole reset thing. Just kind of retold the same story again. Now they're just gonna do it the third time with a sick kid. That's weird.
Yeah, it's odd. Not bad though.
Fair.
I also, what else did I do? Oh, I also found there was a couple of like individual comics I picked up. I found the they did a couple annuals this month, and one of them was they did the Superman year 1000, where they were basically explaining the aftermath of DCKO and what he's been up to. That one was interesting. I kind of have to read DCKO to really understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one they did was they did a annual for World's Finest, and World's Finest is like, so it's a Batman Superman comic that takes place like in the past, so they don't have to worry about continuity, and it's kind of like the early days of Batman and Superman's friendship.
Is it anything like the World's Finest 3-parter and Superman the Animated Series?
So this volume kind of, but we'll get into that. It's a fun series. Oh, nice. So it's a fun series overall. Very fun. Mark Waid's writing it, but this annual was really fun. So it was 2 parts. So there was the first story was it was basically a Father's Day episode like issue where Clark and Bruce, they take Alfred and Pa Kent out for dinner.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of fun. And then of course they get called away, and we get to see like Alfred gives a lot of backstory and stuff. It's so weird seeing Alfred again because he's currently dead in continuity. But
that's kind of fun though, having like the quote unquote parents of Superman and Batman just chatting about their kids. Like,
yeah,
I would read and or watch a whole fucking thing of just that. Just them talking about raising the fucking psychos they ended up. Well, one of them was psycho, one of them was, but
one of them's the literal definition of a Boy Scout. No, it was really cute. It was very wholesome. Because there's a whole running gag about how Alfred doesn't really consider himself a father. He's not really sure why he's there. I mean, the whole time, like Pa Kent like keeps like offering him like breadsticks from the restaurant because Ed didn't order anything because he's Alfred. And throughout the entire thing, he keeps going like, "No, I'm fine, sir." Eventually, they end up saving the day at the end because, like, of course, Batman and Superman get caught in some Lex Luthor bullshit. It's really goofy. But finally, at the end, after they've solved the day, they're having this one last chat, and Jonathan once again, he's like, "Breadstick," and he's like, "Don't mind if I do." After he's come to that whole resolution, it was super cute. The second story was hilarious. So this story is the one that's kind of related to that World's Finest episode. They're doing something, and Clark needs Bruce to like watch Lois. Keep in mind, this is before the identity was known and they weren't married. So then Clark's finishing up what he was doing. He looks down and he sees Bruce is taking Lois on a date, and he's like, "Hey, it's not what I said." And Bruce is like, "Well, keeping her safe." And he's just like,
"Hey, you know what I'm about."
The entire issue is Clark sabotaging Bruce's date in the most pettiest fuck ways possible. Like, there's points where like they're going on like the tunnel of love, and Clark like blasts him with his freeze ray, so he falls into the river before they get on the boat, which is funny. And Lois thinks it's hilarious. And then he's doing the whole like he's gonna like knock over the bottles like thing, and Clark is just constantly intercepting it like every time, so he keeps perpetually fucking up. And like the whole time, like it gets more and more ridiculous each time, to the point where Lois is just kind of over it. And we get a great like little like dialogue box where Clark then decides, all right, now I'm gonna just show up just to fuck with him even more. And the second he appears, like Lois like has like a box where she's like, Clark, Clark, how are you doing? like this whole thing.
That's great.
And then Clark
is Bruce aware that he's fucking with him the whole time, or is he just thinking, oh, okay.
And he can't do shit about it.
That's hilarious.
It is the best. And it ends with Clark basically getting Bruce to wrestle a pig.
Okay.
And Lois is very unimpressed and kind of disgusted by it, and that's where it ends.
Okay.
It was a very fun, entertaining annual.
I also have a few pickups. Technically, 2 of them won't arrive until Tuesday.
So, fun fact is, I'm assuming one of the ones that hasn't arrived is the Batman Static.
Of course. You already.
That was also. No, I haven't bought it. I'm not really interested at the moment, but it was at the store. And when I saw it there, I'm like, oh, that's fun.
I'm excited to read it because a lot of the same team who did Static Season 1 and Shadows of Dakota worked on it. So I already know that it's going to be fantastic. I don't know if it was mostly just the art team or if it was part of the story as well, but even if it's just the art, because the art in Shadows of Dakota was fucking incredible. But yes, that is one of them. But I also, I have all but the most recent Dungeon Crawler Carl novel. And then I also got Superman Birthright, and on Tuesday I will be getting Under the Red Hood.
Nice. Birthright's a fun origin. I don't know if it's still the canon origin, but it's one of the more interesting origins for Superman, and it's Mark Waid, so it's it's good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading all those. At the moment, I'm kind of just powering through the Dungeon Crawler Carl books because my buddy from work, I've been loaning him them as I finish them, and I'm trying to stay enough ahead of him so that he doesn't have like a layover period where he's waiting for me to finish a book. So,
gotcha. Let me know when you start reading.
Break, but
let me know when you start reading Birthright, because I'd actually like to reread that, and we could probably do it for the show.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'll probably do it for both, honestly.
Yeah, we could do Under the Red Hood too. I feel like we'd have to talk Death in the Family though as well. I don't know.
I'd have to look into it because sometimes the compacts will include. Well, they'll use one title, but it'll technically be the story, like two different storylines. I'll have to look and see if that one includes Death in the Family.
I mean, we don't have to read Death in the Family. A lot of Death in the Family is kind of bullshit, anyways. Like, we don't need to see Joker as a fucking ambassador to whatever fucking country it was. That shit was stupid. But
yeah, I'm gonna take a quick peek on Amazon just to see.
Because they did a Death of the Family DC Finest. I know that. It doesn't matter regardless. It's really not that important in the grand scheme of things.
But also this week, I've been plugging away more at Superman the Animated Series and Superman and Lois. And
nice.
So on Superman the Animated Series, I'm getting pretty close to the end of season 2. I just watched the World's Finest 3-part.
You know what's amazing about Superman the Animated Series?
What's that?
It's a great show. Like, I love Superman the Animated Series, but you can tell so hard while watching it that they were way more interested in doing Batman.
Yeah.
It is very apparent at times.
So it looks like it is just the Red Hood story.
That's fine. We don't have to read Death in the Family. It's just a...
I was thinking we could even do, like, we could read the book and watch the movie and kind of do a comparison episode.
That actually would be interesting because there's some shit in the book that when you find out how Jason comes back, you're going to be like, what the fuck did I just read? Because it is the stupidest, most convoluted bullshit you'll ever read. And then the movie, it's so much simpler. The movie's just what you'd expect.
So yeah, I'm getting pretty close to the end of season 2 of that, which means I'll be flipping back to Batman soon. And like I said, I've been plugging away at Superman and Lois. Giving Lois cancer was definitely a choice.
Yeah, that was it works in the grand scheme of things, but it was kind of like
yeah, it just kind of came out because like she mentions the whole like, oh, like I've been feeling tired and my boobs have been sore. I'm like, oh, you're pregnant. Don't you seem kind of old to be pregnant? And then they're like, oh, you're not pregnant. I'm like, oh, so that's not good. So you have breast cancer.
Keep in mind, Lois's age is a constantly fluctuating thing that we'll never actually truly know the answer to.
But in the context of this show,
yeah, she's older in that show.
They had met and dated for a while before they got married, and then their kids are in high school, so she's definitely at least in her 40s.
Yeah, the comics are fucking hilarious with it because there are points where they joke about how she's older than you'd think, and then there's points where she's like younger than you'd think, and I'm like, guys, I get the sliding time scale. Like, she's probably in her late 30s, 40s.
And the last episode I watched is when they did the big reveal that Nat Irons' new boyfriend is actually Bruno Mannheim's kid.
Yeah, that was a weird also thing, but I forget what There are things I remember about the later seasons, but I forget where that one goes, to be honest.
Also,
Also,
I've been consistently into the stories that they've been doing for each season. Like I'm on season 3 right now, and I'm still just as invested as I was in season 1. So
yeah,
that's a lot, especially for a CW show.
they put pretty much what they had into finishing it off strong, which is great. But I will say the actor change for John was a little off-putting at first.
Yeah, that threw me off. That threw me off big time. Do you know anything about why that happened, or
scheduling?
Yeah, that's all it was.
They just couldn't get him for the other 2 seasons.
Gotcha.
But the other thing too is like the end of season. One thing that bugged me is with John's story arc is the end of season 1. They really kind of imply that he meets this girl and it's gonna go somewhere. Nope, forget about that. That's not important.
Yeah, well, like he meets her and they start dating, and then I feel like she just kind of disappears, and then like they go to a party in Metropolis, and like he's talking to his ex-girlfriend. He's like, "Oh, I have a girlfriend." I'm like, "You do?" Oh shit, Candace. Yeah, I totally forgot. Like because she hasn't been in the show like at all. And then we have this whole scene where her dad steals his truck and then punches him in the face. Then he pulls a gun on Lois. And then fucking Clark confronts him in the diner and just fucking makes a fool out of him in front of everyone. It's great. I love that whole episode was fucking amazing.
It's so crazy though, because
I love how Clark as soon as he hears that he pulled a gun on Lois, he gets up and Lois is like, "Honey, this isn't a job for Superman." He goes, "He won't be there." It's just like, damn, dude, that's a fucking man. You're bringing it. You're bringing
Tyler Hoechlin is the best Clark. I don't care what anyone says. But
he definitely won me over with this show. I was very like meh with him in Supergirl, but when he's in his own show, yeah, he's fucking.
Well, he has stuff to do in this show. he was there as a prop more than anything in Supergirl.
Yeah, I had the Supergirl show. They're like, "Oh, I've been superheroing for a year and a half, and I already beat Superman." Like, fuck you. No, you didn't. You stupid bitch.
No, see, I love Superman and Lois's interpretation of Clark and Lois because they're already older, they're established, and they don't have any of that fucking bullshit that a lot of the newer shows will try to do. So they're just like already like they're already confident in where they are as people. So it's like you don't have to deal with any of that. So it's like you just get this fully engaged character, so they get to do more interesting stuff with them.
Yeah. And so far I've only had one instance of CW logic, which that was a thing that drove me nuts a lot in all the other CW DC shows was the CW logic, the forced like the forced problems between characters where it's like any reasonable person will look at this and be like, you just talk about it. It's fine. Like it's not a big deal.
And that's one of the things that this show
Superman and Lois has only happened once so far. Where I was like, that doesn't make any sense. It was when it was after Clark had told Lana that he was Superman. And then she was wicked mad at Lois about it.
Yeah, that was weird.
How she was like, you made friends with me knowing this, and that means we're not really friends. What the fuck does that mean? No, it doesn't, you idiot.
Lana's an in-name only character in this show because she's really not the Lana from the comics at all. But
it's definitely very different from the animated series version.
Oh yeah, a lot. But I mean, I like the character, I like the actress and everything. I think she does a great job. But there are moments where I'm like,
And, like going back to season 1, I did not like her husband. Now that I'm in season 3, I fucking love him. He's one of my favorite characters.
Well, season 1, he's very clearly got issues, and the family drama that they did in season 1 with them was a little much at times.
No, the more recent family drama is a lot more engaging with the whole.
Well, it's more thing. Yeah, which is so weird because like you think they figured things out, but no, that wouldn't make sense. I will say though,
that's much more realistic. It's
yeah,
like, no, it's you.
That's what I'm saying. Like season 1 was a little. Season 1, it felt like they weren't sure if they were going to get more seasons. That's kind of the way I feel like with that show.
I think what they were doing with season 1, it was one of those kind of like. I think that what they were going for was like a shared trauma, like kind of made things better kind of situation.
Yeah.
And then it was like, no, when we were having problems, you were actually cheating on me for 6 months. And no, that's the last straw. We're done.
Yeah. Because season 1 ends in a point where that could have been the ending, and it would have been fine. Which leads me to believe they weren't sure if they were going to get more seasons, so they could actually do more later. Because like I think of like, because for the most part, when it comes to like the like the CW shit, like the drama that just happens, Superman and Lois is one of the shows that actually does it well. Like I always think of like the scene where Clark and Lois have their little like argument when he doesn't show up for the meeting that she was supposed to go to because he had things to do, and they have like a realistic argument about it, and it's like not like you can see both sides, and it's like, and they work it out, and it's like okay, and then Clark does that really nice gesture after where they have like the date in the farm.
Yeah, and then it was also the like the scene where, or the whole episode really, where Lois is starting her cancer treatments. Yeah. And Clark tries like a group therapy for like the spouses of people who have cancer. And he's like, yeah, no, it's not for me. He's like, no, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Whatever. It's whatever. And then like we actually have that moment of him being like, I can't protect you against this. Like this is not a job for Superman. I can't do shit. This is the first time in my life I have felt powerless. Like, yeah. It's and like that's like a really compelling moment.
Well, there's also like season 1, another scene that's like really like strong and impactful to me is the scene where Jonathan gets trapped in a John Henry Irons trailer and like it's about to kill him.
Yeah.
And Lois loses her shit there, which at first you're like, that's an extreme reaction. Then you find out the whole, they had the miscarriage like thing. And it's like, oh, she's got trauma. Like that hit her harder than you'd expect. And it like, that one's hard. Like that was a emotional episode.
No, look, I'm just saying, coming from a parent, no, her reaction was completely warranted. 100%.
Oh yeah.
Completely warranted. No, absolutely. I did not have a problem with, and she was all horrified, like, oh no, I can't believe I did. No, I would have done the same thing. I would have fucking screamed in their face. What are you, a fucking moron? No, absolutely. Just like,
I love how well written Lois is in this show. Like I love Bitsy's performance. She's like probably my favorite actress that's ever played that character.
She's definitely up there for sure.
I will say the lady Rachel Brosnan in the new movie, she might be a good one too. I really liked her in the first movie.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm still thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm a little bit worried that when it comes to especially the live action shows, because I plan on watching as many of them as I have access to before I lose HBO Max. And I'm worried that there aren't going to be any more that even come close to make me liking it as much as this one.
That's
except maybe Gotham. Maybe.
Gotham does its own thing, so you might like that one.
I've heard good things about that one.
See, the thing with Superman and Lois is it ended early, but it actually ended just in time before it really started to get like overstay its welcome. So it kind of is like a perfect 4 seasons.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the thing with Flash. I feel like it was after season 4 that it started to drop off.
That's the CW curse. It's like they're great for like their first few episodes, and then they just hit that point where it's like this. You've overstayed your welcome. Like you should have ended here. Like we don't need.
Which is kind of ironic because Supergirl was kind of the reverse, because I didn't start to like it until around season 4, and I think that was because I didn't really like the cast that much up to that point, and then they introduced Brainy, and they brought Lex into the mix, which I like the actor who played Lex in Supergirl a lot. It's not the same actor who plays him in Superman, right? Superman and Lois, because I know he comes in at some point.
I don't remember, to be honest, so I'll have to wait and see.
But I like the actor who played him in like the Arrowverse. I wasn't sure about him at first, but like as we had more time with him, I was like, okay, I like this guy.
So Supergirl's a bit of a weird case because it actually started on a different network, so it might, and they brought it over to CW. So that might be why the early seasons were a little weird.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's a great show though. I love Superman and Lois. That's like the people always joke saying the CW. It started with the Superman show. Technically, it was WB at the time, but it started with like Smallville. And it ended with a Superman show. It was like a perfect bookend.
I've never actually watched Smallville. Is it worth it? Is it worth watching?
Yeah, it's interesting as a unique take on the because it's like Superman without the actual Superman part.
Okay. I might give it a watch after after I finish Superman and Lois and give it some space, watch a couple other things, then I might circle back around to it.
Just remember it's a show.
It's not an HBO show. I'll have to find it elsewhere, but
yeah, just remember it's a show from the early 2000s, and it shows at times.
Well, that could be a good thing because there's some because I've come to the conclusion that I actually, and it's not just like a nostalgia thing, but I actually really like movies and TV from the 90s. Like a lot of the Stephen King miniseries, like The Stand and It and the Shining miniseries, like a lot of that kind of stuff, or Storm of the Century. Like I find myself really liking those kinds of shows that were filmed differently, than stuff is now.
True.
Like now they try to make every TV show so cinematic, and it just kind of gets lost
without the budget for it.
Without the budget, yeah.
So I actually watched some anime this week.
Oh yeah?
So I got caught up on Slime because I realized I hadn't watched Slime in like 4 weeks, so I had like 3 episodes to catch up on. We're clearly in the post. That first arc is over, and now we're in the build up for the next arc, so it's a little slow right now. That's fine. The Slime movie came out, the second movie. Finally.
Oh, it did?
Yep, it's on Crunchyroll now. I won't spoil what happens, but I will say it was a good movie. It takes place between 3 and 4, so you can watch it without having to worry about 3 or 4. It's very standalone.
Is dubbed?
It is dubbed. It's completely out on Crunchy.
Okay.
I will say, can you take a guess who the central character of the movie is? Like, who is like the spotlight character of this movie?
It's a character we already know?
Yes. Well, there's a new character, but then they're for the most part partnered up with one of our long runners. It's not Rimuru. Nope.
Is it Tits?
No.
I don't even remember her name. I just know that she got massive tits. Yeah.
Shion.
I don't know.
Would you believe it? It's our boy Gobda.
I'm okay with this.
And would you believe he has a romance storyline?
I'm okay with this.
It is. I enjoyed it, but I was like, "Oh, Gobda's our main character in this." Okay, where are we going here?
We haven't seen him much lately, so
yeah. No, it was a fun movie. It's very
and it takes place between the last season and the current season.
It's between season 3 or 4, but there's basically all you need to know is the stuff from season 4 hasn't happened yet. So that's really the only major plot thread. They brought the crazy vampire lady too, which was fun. She was chilling.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, I'll have to give that a watch at some point. I don't know when I'm gonna get around to it. They finally put the Demon Slayer movie on there too, so I'm gonna have to watch that at some point. They
also today came out kind of out of nowhere the final My Hero Academia special.
Oh, it's out?
The Aries special came out today.
I didn't think it was coming out until later for some reason.
No, just it randomly shadow dropped today. It's also only 6 minutes long, so it's not very long.
What?
But it's literally. I looked it up. That comic is not that little like mini chapter ain't very long. So
it's okay, whatever.
They stretched it out as much as they could. In 6 minutes is about all you get.
They stretched it out, and it was still only 6 minutes.
It's a very
why even bother?
So the literal only thing that special really was made for was just to get fans to shut up about Deku's ranking.
Okay.
Because they establish in it that he's now like rank 4. That's really about it.
Well, he doesn't have all for one or one for all anymore, so.
Well, he's active again though with his robot armor. So
yeah, he's got robot armor and shit, but he's not going to be top dog with robot armor. Because if he could do that, then anybody could do it.
Well, yeah, he's number 4 behind Lemillion, Shota, and Mount Lady.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was fun though. You got
Lemillion deserves to be number 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, Deku's got robot powers, and he can use Vine Whip. I guess he can use Black Whip still. I'm not sure how many the other powers he can use, but he can use Black Whip.
Fair. Yeah.
They were just like, yes, Deku's doing stuff again, but he's also still a teacher. Have fun. It was basically the point of that special, but you get to see more of Eri, which was nice.
That's fun.
And then the final thing I watched was I watched the Dangers in My Heart movie, which I found it was 80% a recap. So that was fun.
Okay.
I was mostly just hyped. It was hyping up for the third season.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just was watching my ongoings. I finally caught up with Demons of the Shadow Realm. What else? I also watched Slime and Chainsmoker Cat. And that's it.
Nice. Yeah, I know we're getting closer to a few dubs, so hopefully. I know the Apothecary Diary movie is coming sooner than later.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get the first half of the season before we get the movie. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just waiting for the fall at this point, like as far as anime goes. But I've been dedicating as much time as I can to watching those DC shows on HBO because I'm only gonna have HBO for another 3 months or so. So I gotta try and get as much of that in as I can. Yeah. I'm running out of shows though. When I finish the animated shows, like the animated universe, I'm only gonna have like a handful of shows left. So at that point, I'm probably just gonna be powering through the movies.
Have you watched the animated Watchmen yet, or?
No, I haven't.
That's definitely a good one if you want just like a palate cleanser.
I may do that. Maybe after I finish the animated universe.
As much of a palate cleanser as Watchmen can be.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so I think my grand total of anime now is like I'm 13 this year. The anime hangover is real. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically you're not that far behind me as far as new watches goes. So.
Yeah, and I don't think Alex is super far this year either. It's going to be a very different episode this year for the end of the year.
I'm at maybe 21. I mean, realistically, we have Apothecary, at least Apothecary Part 1 and the movie. There's the new Dragon Ball. There's the new Black Clover. I feel like there was another thing that was coming out in the fall. I can't remember what it was. But
yeah, there's a few.
There's more stuff coming up. So we'll be able to round out our list a little bit more.
Yeah, and I still got to do my homework.
So, yeah, me too.
Actually, I think we all have to do our homework. What was Slate's homework?
His was Undead Unluck.
Okay.
Which I still want you to watch. You still need to watch that.
Yeah, we'll see how this year goes because I got to do my homework plus JoJo's at some point.
Yeah, you're running out of time, but you're in the final third of the year at this point.
Yeah, it might not happen this year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, you can at least start. That's the beauty of JoJo's with the different parts. Is each individual part in JoJo's might as well be a different show.
True. Yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to be one of those.
They just share power systems and families. That's all. You might get a few cameos from time to time.
True. But we'll see. This year's been. I read 50 books last month. This year's been a reading month.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading, and I started the year off pretty strong with gaming. I haven't been gaming as much lately.
I'm pretty much on hold until the new Fire Emblem comes out.
Like either way, though, like regardless of how much I'm gaming, I always slow down in the summer just because there's so much like physical stuff going on. Plus, it's just so hot that like I don't want to just sit there and sweat into my fucking game system. So it's
Yeah.
Be different if I had AC, but I don't. So
even with AC, it's rough sometimes because I mean I run my AC pretty low for the most part. But anyways, we should probably get into our topic for this episode.
Yes. So
talk about this guy here.
Yep. The volume 1 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl graphic novel. Which is probably the only way I would get Bill to to get into this series in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. Volume 1 didn't really hook me, so I'm hoping Volume 2. The more happens.
Part of it too was because, like, the first actual novel in the series, they spent the first like third of that novel with a lot of setup stuff, and that's kind of what this is.
Yeah. So my problem is going through this, like, I didn't really like any of the characters that much.
No?
No, like Carl just kind of just exists. Like,
Well, he's kind of one of those dudes. He's got like a lot of I don't want to necessarily say anger problems, but he's got no problem saying exactly what the fuck he thinks.
yeah, you see, the other problem I had with a lot of this is the writing to a degree, and this isn't a problem with the book itself. This is just my personal tastes. There's a lot of modern writing choices that I'm kind of like, I see and I go, like, it's not.
In what way?
The way they use language at certain points, like some of the profanity, I just found kind of like, yeah, that wasn't necessary, but sure.
Yeah, it's just kind of a side effect of. See, this is kind of like taking a similar. We'll say it's in the similar vein of Solo Leveling, but
see that's kind of that was my biggest comparison.
But it's very much a Western product.
Yeah, that was my biggest comparison when I was reading this the whole time. I was kind of like, I was actively comparing it to Solo Leveling the entire time.
Because even just the way that they did the graphic novel with like the size of it and like the way the a lot of the art. I mean, the art style itself is very much webtoons. Like,
oh, it's very similar to Solo Leveling there.
It's pretty. Like, there are definitely some scenes in here, like some drawings that look really nice, but for the most part, it doesn't look super unique in terms of art style.
No, it's very. It's passable. Like, it's not bad. It's good. It's good art.
No, it's perfectly fine. Like, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it doesn't really do a whole lot to stand out artistically.
See, another thing that I wasn't particularly a fan of, and this is just a personal taste thing, I didn't like how they did like the game screens.
Yeah, some of like the color choices were pretty bad. Like, I didn't like the orange with the white lettering. Like, that was
like one that like gets me is like this. Like this to me, the ones that matter are the ones right here. These three here.
Yeah.
Then there's just this panel of like 100 of them piled up. The problem I have here is technically to get what the gist of over there is, you only have to read those three, but it's like overstimulating the eyes, and my eyes were kind of like, I don't like that layout. That panel layout's kind of crap. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and because it's like it's staggered, like different sizes and you know, so it's not consistent.
There was a lot of points where I was taking the book and literally shoving it to my face because I could not read because there's so much shit going on.
That is another issue I have with this particular graphic novel is the printing of it. Like, the pages themselves individually are fine. They're kind of flimsy a little bit, but
I mean, it's higher quality paper than a lot of comics, so I'll give it that.
But at the same time, it's like you got to like really stretch the bitch out if you want to see the whole page.
Yeah. I will say $20, not bad for this.
Yeah, because it's about 300 pages or so. It's a decent sized one. It's about like what would be like a volume and a half of manga.
Yeah, for the most part. It's about what a Solo Leveling volume costs.
And in terms of like the achievement stuff, like that's kind of they do that a lot more in like the first novel, like the first couple floors, because it's like it's one of those things like in Universe where the first couple floors of the dungeon they kind of flood you with low level achievements and rewards so that you have like a base to build off of. But as the story goes on, those they still happen, obviously, but it's a lot less.
Yeah, like this was another page where I was just like, there's too much shit going on right now.
Yeah, because that was one of those situations where he's just getting a shit ton of loot all at once because the game just started, and pretty much everything he does is going to trigger an achievement.
Yeah, see, it's another case of like if I'd never seen Soul Leveling, I wouldn't have as many arguments, just because I think Soul. Is it fair to say that this was probably inspired by Soul Leveling?
In a lot of ways, I'd say. Well, how old is Solo Leveling?
It's a good question. Because the manhwa or the actual novels.
Well, the novels came out first, so we'll say the novels.
So, the novel first published in 2016.
Okay. See, I know that the first actual novel for Dungeon Crawler Carl wasn't published until I think 2020, but I know he was writing them chapter by chapter and posting it online before that. So I don't know how far back that goes.
Okay. 2020, really? Was this like a sleeper thing that no one gave a shit about until like recently?
Well, no, it's the same kind of situation as like how like Sword Art Online, like the first novel wasn't published until like right around the time the anime came out, but he had been writing it and posting it online for years, and it just gained a big following. It just didn't get officially published until later, and it was a similar situation with this series. So he already had like a ton of the material already written by the time he actually got greenlit to publish it.
Gotcha. So he had to have been writing it since at least 2018.
So
Solo was a few years before.
Yeah.
But it didn't make the jump over here. That's the real question. When did Solo make the actual?
So I mean, it could just be one of those situations where it's they were both kind of inspired by similar things. I mean, the whole like dungeon crawler kind of subgenre has kind of been blowing up over the past few years. So.
I will say inherently the stories are very different because like this is Solo Leveling is like a world that's been isekai'd where there's just like random dungeons appearing everywhere, but the world itself is still kind of fine.
Essentially the same.
Yeah, this is a world that just straight up like is a game show now.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like half game show, half video game.
Yeah, they weren't super clear about that. At least in this.
They by design don't give the crawlers much details when it starts.
Is the implication that Earth was like created just for this?
It's all right. So it's implied at first that was the case. Later, like in the book that I'm currently reading, it was actually just revealed that they were just toying with ancient shit they didn't understand, and it just kind of happened. Because like they mentioned in this graphic novel that they had seeded planets with different sentient life forms, and that this one just happened to be seeded with humans, and this is not the only one out there. But like later on, it's revealed that no, they were actually messing with technology from like an extinct species who was kind of like the origin species for a lot of stuff, including humans. And they like accidentally seeded planets with these different species. And all right, so we should probably actually talk a little bit about the setup and story itself.
So one thing that's kind of interesting is apparently one of his biggest inspirations was actually RuneScape. That's fascinating.
That makes sense with how his age and everything. That makes a lot of sense. Because he does make a lot of like pop culture and video game references and stuff like that. Like later on, later down the line, he will get like a personal safe room. It's kind of like buying a house, but it just kind of follows you around. It just takes residence to different towns and stuff that he goes to. And he just has like a Frogger machine in his fucking space.
Sure.
Just because. So essentially the idea behind this story is that Carl basically like his cat jumped out the window and he was going to fucking get the cat, and then like everything in the world just collapsed. So basically the way
poor nice old lady next door got fucking yeeted out of existence.
Yeah, right. Just got decapitated. So basically the way it works is that they take any sort of structure on the planet that has a roof and they break it down into, I guess, base materials, and then use that material to make the dungeon. And they have like a crazy AI that fucking just runs the whole thing and like makes all this shit happen. And the AI comes up with all like item descriptions and shit too. And essentially, like for like an hour, a bunch of different entrances will open up to the dungeon, and anybody who wants to go inside can go inside, and then they're part of the dungeon crawler world show.
Is it just implied that everyone who doesn't go in just dies?
No, they have free reign to just live on the surface. There's just no buildings, so they have to start from scratch. No buildings, and the only cars that would still be around would be convertibles because they don't have roofs.
So oddly specific, but okay.
It's a weirdly specific detail. That's the only buildings with roof. But as we see later in this graphic novel, that like the people who were in these structures and the buildings and stuff aren't necessarily like dead because they fight a boss in this graphic novel called the Hoarder, and it's very heavily implied that this was just a person on the planet before the collapse.
Was that the chick that was like spewing out bugs?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. I don't like bugs. Like shit like that. I was like, I don't like this character very much.
Calling it a character is kind of a stretch.
Yeah, but it stayed around for too long for my taste. I was like, can we just move past
It was that
this,
first
please?
boss battle. They had to do something.
I did like the reveal of like, that was an easy boss. And Carl's just like, great.
He's like, seriously?
See, it's so funny comparing it to Soul Leveling where like Jinwoo is just fucking OP. Because Soul Leveling is such a power fantasy.
Yeah, see, Carl isn't a Jinwoo. Like, he definitely has, like, oh shit moments, like, a lot.
Well, Carl seemed to luck himself into most of his, like, wins.
He kind of does. And then in the few moments where, like, oh shit, I'm screwed, like, you know, somebody will come in and help him out.
Yeah.
He's one of those people who, despite the fact that he is kind of an asshole, and, like, he doesn't have a problem telling people exactly what he thinks. He also kind of does just gather, like, you can't really tell from this book alone because there's only like 3 characters in this book. But he does kind of have a way of kind of bringing people around him anyway, despite that.
Well, because like one of the overarching plots with this is that he broke up with his girlfriend like right before this happened.
Yeah, because she was vacationing in the Bahamas. And she had posted a picture on Instagram where she was like sitting on this dude's lap, and it was very clearly like they were like a thing. So he was like, "Oh, okay, so you're cheating on me. We're done." Like, but he was also planning on keeping the cat, even though it's her cat.
Yeah.
And the cat. So all right, so we didn't really talk about this. So he gets an enchanted pet biscuit when he first goes in the dungeon, and when the cat eats it, it just kind of like melts for a second. And then it pops back up, and then it just pops back up again, and it's sentient and can talk. So that's going to be his consistent companion throughout the whole thing. And even the cat's just like, yeah. So I remember like everything from when I was just a normal cat, and you were definitely planning on stealing me. Like I saw.
Princess Donut is her name.
Yes, Princess Donut. The tiara and all.
Yeah. It's so funny where they keep bringing up the whole like she cheated on me thing, and it's very much like, but you're not a sympathetic character in the slightest, so we just don't care.
Yeah, but he's also like, see, it's and they cut it off at a weird point in this book too, because like there's a lot of stuff coming up after.
Yeah, the ending I didn't like. I was like, that was too abrupt.
It's very abrupt, yeah. Like,
it just straight up like
if they had just put one more chapter in, it would have made more sense to end it there.
Well, because it literally ends with this, and then the next page is just
ads.
End of volume 1, and I'm like, what happened? Like, what the fuck happened there?
It's just them being like, we're gonna go kill that goblin, and then just end. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah, I was kind of like, okay. Like, I hope the next volume is stronger.
There's gonna be another boss. There's gonna be they are going to run into the crawlers who killed that girl that they found.
Oh yeah, they did find the dead girl. I keep forgetting
Yeah,
there's other crawlers because they that's
yeah,
like a running thing where they're all dying, like left and
yeah,
right.
yeah. Because like it was like 13 million people went in at the start, and then like by the time they're doing their first recap, they're like, we've already lost 3 million people. It's like what?
Yeah,
Excuse me. And then like a little bit later, it's like we're down to 4 million. What? Like, are you kidding me?
Carl's like, holy shit, we're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, I think where I'm at in the books right now, there's like 80,000 left.
Jesus Christ.
But also, like as you get deeper in the dungeon, like each next floor is smaller than the last, so people start to converge a lot more the deeper you go.
Does the girlfriend ever come back, or is she just kind of a plot device?
She will pop up again, but it's not as big as you'd think it would be.
Okay.
Cool. They kind of set it up like it's gonna be this big thing, and then it just kind of happens, and then it's okay. We're done with you. Go away.
Great. Okay.
But yeah, they find that body, right? And it's just this chick who's, well, first of all, she was completely stripped of everything except for an apple core. So that automatically is like, what the fuck? Like that's kind of fucked up because you can loot things like it's an RPG. They were killed by is it Frank Q, I believe what it said.
Yes.
And they find the body, like, oh, she's been shot in the chest. And it's like, a Cocker Spaniel did this. I bet it was a Cocker Spaniel. Those little fuckers.
Some of the dialogue in between is a little funny, even if it's not really my taste. Like I did enjoy like the whole like, you killed that goblin. He had a family.
Yeah. Yeah, see, and that's another thing is the further you go, the AI will gain more and more personality. Like it will punish Carl if it doesn't do like a thing that it wants him to do.
Oh yeah. She is stripped of everything. I didn't realize she was naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I also like a running gag that I really like is that Jonah just has an outrageously high charisma, so like any NPC they bump into just instantly just listens to her. Yeah. Like I love how like they meet up with the goblins and they're being like wicked shitty, like we're not gonna do shit for you, you stupid humans, whatever. And they see the cat, and they're like, oh my god, you're so precious. It's like of course we'll build you a motorcycle.
Isn't that like partially like the crown does stuff like that, or
the crown helps, but she already has a really high base charisma, and she gets so Carl will be able to distribute his points however he wants. Donut just has set points that get distributed to certain stats, and her charisma automatically gets double the points of everything else. So like that's like her main stat is charisma. It's just being able to talk people into shit. I also really liked when I think it was like the butterfly clip that she gets when they're in that like fucking fast food restaurant or whatever, and she just starts like bouncing around and like playing in the ball pit and shit. That was fun.
Yeah.
See, it's hard to talk too much about this first book because I know so much about what happens later. And this first book was literally just set up.
Yeah, it's very slow.
Yeah. It doesn't it's not until book 2 of the novels that it really starts to pick up. So I was kind of worried about how that was going to translate into a graphic novel. And while I still enjoyed it, I definitely think there needs to be like buying them individually as they come out will be rough for a lot of people who are just getting into it like you. For people like me who have read a bunch of the novels, it's just like, yeah, that was fun. And I'll move on back to like the novels. I think once it gets to a point where more of them are out and you can just binge read a few, because I read this in an hour, like just straight through with no problem. I think once we get to a point where there are more of them, like at least until we get to the point where the graphic novels cover the first 2 books, I think is when people will start getting a lot more interested in the graphic novel itself.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of anything else worth mentioning.
There was the random safe rooms and the mouse man.
Oh yes, Mordecai. He get used to him. He'll be around.
Yeah, I figured because he seemed to be the only other character with a defined personality in this book.
Yeah, so he's they actually don't mention it in this book, but so he mentions that he used to be a skyfall, like one of the bird people.
Hmm.
But so it's a thing in this story where once you hit the third floor, you get the option to choose your class and your race, so you can become something else. And as far as the race thing, that's permanent. Like even if you get out of the dungeon, you will be whatever you turned into. And when Mordecai hit the third, because he used to be a crawler. When he hit floor 3, he became a changeling, so he's a shapeshifter. So like it's kind of like a running thing with him, where every floor they go down to, the system automatically forces him to shift into something else. So for floor 1, he's going to be the Rat Man, and then in the later floors, he changes every time.
Gotcha. Good to know. So the only other thing that's interesting too is like you just look at like the art for like the novels as opposed to like the art for the graphic. The novels have this very Western look to them.
Yeah, the novels look very like Call of Duty, whereas the graphic novels are very much like
anime.
Like you can tell this is very inspired by anime and things of the like. Which I am okay with, honestly. I'm totally fine with that.
Like the novel, the graphic is very much they're going for that webtoon / manhwa look.
But then it looks super cartoony at times, but then like you get to like a big fight or whatever, and it's like, oh, this is actually kind of gory.
Yeah.
Like when they're fighting the bug lady, and they're just like kicking the cockroaches into oblivion, like the goblin gets shredded up by the dozer and shit.
Oh yeah, that was the thing.
And I think part of the reason why the first one is more difficult is because there aren't that many other characters. It's literally just like 3 characters and then whatever NPCs they bump into. Because there are a lot of characters they get introduced later that are very fun characters.
Yeah, because there's like an ad in the back of the book for the role-playing game, and it's like a completely different art style. And I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's the kind of art style they use for like the audiobooks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's not the most attractive art.
No.
There is. It's
not my favorite either. Honestly, that kind of made me kind of like iffy about starting the series until I actually started reading it. I was like, oh, okay, this is fun.
So, was it like a cult series for the longest time, and then it just kind of blew up this year? Because I didn't know this series existed until like last year.
Yeah, see, last year was when my buddies are talking to me about it and telling me how badly he wanted me to read it and everything. I don't know. I think it was just like a specific following that he had for a while, and then I think it was once the books had like a good amount of them had been published and had time to sit and like the cult followers and stuff would start recommending them to other people, and it just kind of blew up like that.
Yeah, because it's so weird. Like I'd never seen these books anywhere, and then like now I go to every Barnes and Noble and there's a big display right up front. I'm like, when did this happen?
So the comparison I made, and I've actually seen other people make this comparison after the fact, but I look at the Dungeon Crawler comic books as like what smut is to women is what Dungeon Crawler Carl is to dudes. Like it's the same kind of like there's stuff going on. There is plot. There is like fun character work and stuff. But like in terms of like women, it's the romance stuff, and in terms of men, it's the I'm just running around fucking kicking cockroaches into oblivion and fighting fucking I don't know. Like I don't even want to bring up some of the stuff that happens later. But yeah, there's some ridiculous shit. There's a lot of lore in the dungeon too that kind of comes out later.
I think that might actually be my issue with it is the fact that the characters aren't super developed right now.
Yeah. I think once you get deeper into the story and we actually start getting to spend more time with the characters, because at this point, like Carl's main his main mindset is like, I'm gonna do everything I can, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die pretty soon. And then it's not until a little bit later he starts getting more confidence in what he's been doing. He starts coming up with more elaborate plans and stuff for tackling certain situations. And again, like the more characters get introduced, like we've seen, actually, it shows little snippets of some characters that will show up later on. You wouldn't know it just by seeing them, but there was one character in particular that we do get a couple of sneak peeks at in this book. A character called Lucy Amar, who happened to go to the dungeon with her 2 Rottweilers, and boy, is she a character. And then, there's a lot of stuff coming up. I don't want to get too into it because the second book does come out in, I think, October. It's either September or October. I don't remember which.
Yeah,
but,
see on that.
So I say we'll continue it as they come out and just keep popping back into it, and we'll see how much you're, if it ends up hooking you at some point or not.
Yeah. All I'll say is for people who have not read this before, this first volume is not the strongest start.
No, I think you're probably better off waiting until more of them come out, so you can just binge through a few of them, and then once you actually start to meet more characters and you get more development, then that because like when I read the first book, I was like, that was fun, like it was perfectly fine. It was a lot of goofy jokes and silly shit going on. But then there also has like this really dark undertone of like, oh, so this is technically the apocalypse, but it's also just entertainment for all these other random ass people out in the universe, and that's kind of fucked up. But they kind of just push that to the back because they don't really have the luxury of sitting and stewing on that for too long.
Yeah.
Obviously, with how many people died just in that first graphic novel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where it goes. It's gonna be. I'm hoping it does hook me, because I'm not gonna lie, the first volume didn't really do it for me that much.
Like I say, I think it'll mostly be once you get to I think towards the end of what would be the second novel, that's when he gets his first extra party member. Is at that point. Although he does meet more people and do some team ups before that. I won't go into too many specifics, but the first, aside from the person who murdered the girl, the first people that they meet happen to be the residents of a retirement home.
Huh.
Because somebody pulled the fire alarm right before the collapse, so they were all outside.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's an interesting part of the story. I don't remember if that happens in floor 1 or floor 2. I know it happens in the first novel, but that novel covers the first 2 floors. But.
Interesting. But yeah, so we'll keep up with that one progressively throughout the year. I guess now we should jump into the segments.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So Bill.
Yeah.
Remember when you stopped caring about JJK because it got too dark?
Yeah. So we don't have a song for this. I don't want to do the drink song.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure last time you just did. I think you did that Diamond Time song or the Water song.
I've been changing it up each time. Yeah, we'll do that one. All right. So in defense of this show over JJK, there's less characters, and these characters are all developed.
Well written.
And these characters are all properly developed. And also the deaths mean something.
Yeah, that's for sure.
JJK, they just kill people for the fuck of it, but that's fine.
So we're on episode 5 of The Haunting of Hill House, titled "The Bent Neck Lady." It's our Nell episode. It's our big wham episode.
Yeah, the big reveal of what the bent neck lady was at the end.
Yeah, big neon sign spoilers. If you have not watched the show, and especially if you have not watched this particular episode, stop now.
Yeah, the people watching the eventual supercut will be like, "Wait a minute, what?" But
yeah.
This episode was a lot.
Yeah, because we got when the episode starts, we get kind of like we get the first night in Hill House where she first sees the bent neck lady, and then she's freaking out about it. She wants to sleep on the couch, and we kind of already got this scene before, but before it was just silence with her seeing the bent neck lady. But here with she was hovering over her on the couch. Here we're hearing her go, no, 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 no. And it's like this super like creepy, like distorted voice and everything. And then with context for the end of the episode, it's like, oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah. So this is the first episode where we really learn who Nell is, and I think the best way to describe her is tragic.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we'll get to it eventually, but we also do learn that yes, the whole twin connection thing is very, very strong between the two. And I think that is a big part of the reason of both of their problems is because between Nell's anxiety and stress and just general fear about life, and then Luke, I mean, she even says in this episode she felt his withdrawals. So God knows what else they feel of each other, and that directly affects how a lot of this shit goes down for them.
Yeah.
So Nell, right at the top, like Nell is not well put together in a lot of ways. Because after we get for sure. Because after we get the whole scene with her on the couch as a child, we jump to her as an adult, and she's seeing a specialist about her sleep paralysis. And as it turns out, this is actually the dude that she ends up marrying later.
Yeah, and boy, the reveal of what happened to him was sad.
Not even just that, like the whole like build up when it's showing them like starting to date and getting engaged and getting married and everything else, like it just the whole story of it. Like I heard somebody make the comparison to the first 10 minutes of Up.
Yeah, this episode made me sad.
Because you know where this is ending. You know where this story ends.
Well, because for the longest time I didn't realize her husband was dead. I just thought he was out of the picture.
Yeah.
And then you find out, oh no. You're like, it's worse than that.
Yeah, it's much worse.
Especially when you realize he was like the only person really keeping her sane.
He was the only person who would listen to her and like actually take her issues seriously. And that even extends further into her therapist later. Like, because even he was kind of like not taking her. I mean, obviously, like, you're a therapist and you see somebody come in and they're like, it's this ghost that keeps following me. It's followed me ever since I was a kid. And this fucking house that I lived in 30 years ago. Like, yeah, you're going to hear that and be like, wow, this person needs medication. And that's exactly what he does. But like, yeah, no, like, he is literally the first person in her life who has taken her issues seriously and given her like a real logical explanation to why this happens. Which ironically is very similar to what her dad told her in the first episode.
Yeah, this episode really did a lot of reveals for a lot of the characters and their complexities. Because like we get a lot more of the dad. He's still kind of a vague character at this point, but we are getting more. Yeah. We got a lot more of Steve. Steve had some interesting. Steve is like literally the most I'm not sure about character in this entire series.
Yeah, because there's definitely moments where he's definitely being an asshole, but he's also kind of right in what he's saying.
Well,
He's just saying it in a shitty way.
that's the thing. It's like when he's being nice, he's like the nicest person. But when he's not being nice, he is such a dickhead.
Yeah, like when we intercut between them dancing with each other at Nell's wedding, and it's this really like nice, heartwarming scene. It's kind of like a continuation of one of the scenes we had in a previous episode where they realized that Theo is gay, and they're like in real time watching Shirley figure it out, and it's just such a cute moment between the two.
And like, I love them just fucking with Shirley the entire time.
Yeah, it's great. And then,
ironically, Shirley has like the least amount of shit to do in this episode, which is honestly probably for the better.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you know, but then we get that scene, and then we compare that scene to when Nell confronts him at his book signing.
Which Steve was very aggressive here, but Nell was also being fucking ridiculous at the same time.
Yeah, I think Steve could have handled the situation better, but I also totally understand why he was mad. And like, in all honesty, he was absolutely right. Like, if you, like, I published this book 6 years ago. If you had a problem, you should have said something way sooner than that, and in a controlled environment, like not in the middle. Like, I'm at work right now, and you're
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of you coming into my office, screaming at me and knocking my desk over, and then walking out. Like, you know, it's not cool. Like, you should talk to me about this separately. Or even when we saw the whole scene before, when Shirley was freaking out, this is blood money, we're not taking this money, this is awful, you shouldn't publish this, and she sat there quietly the whole time. She didn't say a word.
Yeah, because I mean, all the other characters, at least, well, not Luke, because Luke's kind of he's his own special case, but
yeah, well, we'll talk about the Luke scene.
Yeah, well, because like Shirley, like we knew she was mad about the money from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Theo, we knew she was mad about it, but she was going to take advantage of it.
She was mad about the situation, but she wasn't going to not
take
benefit from it. Yeah, she's like, well, it already exists, I might as well take the fucking money.
See, the thing about Nell's reactions here, because she has a few of these freakouts on her family throughout this, and it's like, you know, she's not well, but at the same time, it's like her family has no idea how to react.
Yeah. So going back to Arthur, her husband. So yeah, we get all these different scenes of them, you know, throughout their dating and engagement, then their wedding. They have their whole dance and everything. And then there's a couple of scenes in particular where there's one, like when I think it was after they got engaged, where she starts having one of her sleep paralysis episodes. And he talks her through it. He helps because he's a sleep technician. He knows like this is his job. He knows how this works. So he's helping her through it. He's doing all the things. He's helping her go through the steps of working through it and everything. And it's just really nice, heartwarming moment. And then 8 months after they got married, it happens again. And he's like, okay, we go through all the same steps or everything else. He gets her to turn the light. He stops, and he starts having a brain aneurysm right there. And that's when she sees the bent neck lady again for the first time since she met him.
Did they ever go deeper into what killed him? Like, or is it just a brain aneurysm and they don't really touch
it was said it was a brain aneurysm, but when you're actually looking at him in the scene and the way
it looks like his neck got snapped.
The way his head is. So it's what do you think? Do you think it was the house that killed him? Or do you think that it just kind of happened and the house knew it was going to happen?
Part of me wants to say it's supernatural shit, but like, I don't know. Because just the way it seemed like a weird like parallel.
Yeah. So that's where a lot of people gotta get like, you know, it could be this or it could be that, but
well, it seemed like he was interfering with the house's plan and it had to stop with that.
That very well could be. But there is no answer, so we don't know. It's all up to interpretation.
Because they made the point where like they're like Nell was normal for a while, well, as normal as she could be. Well, they were together and like she had been getting better, and then once he died, it was kind of like that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah. And then so after he dies and everything, we have there's the whole Theo thing, because we kind of like we knew that Theo and Nell had some sort of issues from previous episodes, but we didn't know what they were at the time. And it turns out that Theo had flown all the way from Boston to LA to visit Nell, and Nell wasn't interested in doing anything aside from having Theo just touch shit around her apartment, just hoping that she'd get a glimpse of fucking Arthur. And eventually Theo just gets fed up. She's like, dude, I'm not a fucking parlor trick. Like, I came here to I came literally across the fucking country to spend time with my sister, and you're treating me like a fucking object, like a magnifying glass. Like,
doesn't help too. She was already annoyed because she'd found out about the Luke thing right before that.
Right. Yeah, I forgot that happened after. Yeah.
She is needlessly aggressive to Theo here, though, which.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a side effect of the fact that by this point she had stopped taking her meds.
Yeah.
And with just like the general trauma over her lifetime, and then because obviously she knows ghosts exist, she knows spirits can linger, so she's desperate. She's fucking desperate for Arthur, even if it's as a ghost. Mm. And she's very clearly like willing to do whatever it takes at that point. And it's just I think this is supposed to be like somewhat of a parallel scene too to we got another scene of them as kids in the Hill House where Liv had called Nell over and was accusing her of writing her name on the wall, and like Theo like comes up on the scene and she's like, no, she didn't do this. Like she touched the wall, and she's like, no, you didn't. And this is the first time we've seen Liv like, because we've seen her with getting the migraine when she was dealing with Shirley and the whole cat situation. And at the time, it was just kind of like it all hit me at once. I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this. But here, she's like aggressive about it.
Yeah.
Like you could tell she's starting to unravel at this point.
Yeah, like as Theo makes the comment after she leaves, where she just basically goes, "Well, she's in a mood today."
Hmm. And then they peel the wallpaper down more, and there's more writing that wasn't shown before. It says "Come home now," which there's a lot of things in this particular episode that are supposed to be parallels with the book. Like the whole come home Nell thing, that was a thing in the book. The Cup of Stars, which is mentioned earlier, where she finds like a tea set in the toy room, and she's talking to Mrs. Dudley about it, and she's telling her all about the history of who probably owned the tea set and everything else, and going on about the whole Cup of Stars thing. And that actually like sticks to her, because we actually see a scene of her as an adult, and it's a different cup, but she still has a Cup of Stars. Like she's still like, that was like a formative memory for her, I guess. But yeah, it was like a weird parallel between that scene with Theo and then the future scene with Theo, where like it's almost like Nell expected her to just go along. But by this point, like Theo, she's been dealing with this for so long, she doesn't want to feel all this shit. She doesn't want to see all this shit. Like we saw how much it affected her in her episode when she found out about fucking what the little kid was dealing with, her patient. And it's not a fun experience. And she clearly in that scene was experiencing to some degree what the kid was experiencing.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to experience her brother-in-law's death. Like it's not a thing she wants to go through.
Yeah.
And you'd think Nell of all people would understand that, having that connection with Luke. Like she kind of has a similar thing going on, but with a specific person. So you'd think she would understand, but she's just so desperate for anything with Arthur.
Yeah, and she's unraveling quick.
Yeah. Which kind of makes sense why Steve would make the jump to say, well, mental illness runs in the family, So Luke.
So this was before
that was a rough scene.
Yeah. So this is before he goes to rehab for the big one that actually.
Yeah, she was dropping him off at that rehab, the one that he left in his episode. So I mean, silver lining, it worked. He stayed sober for 90 days.
Yeah, but that was.
But she doesn't know that, so.
Well, no, and God knows, like.
Yeah.
The ending of his episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, the drug dealer scene that was rough.
Yeah. And like, so I know that the different rules apply in different areas, but I know that at least here in Massachusetts, a lot of rehab and detox places won't take you unless you have shit in your system. So I don't know how it works in LA with their facilities, but here, at least where I'm at, you have to be high right before you go in, or they won't take you. Which is pretty fucked up, honestly.
Yeah, that's a little.
I don't know if that's a across the board situation or if it's just here that's like that, but if it is the case that it is a more of an across the board situation, he kind of needed to get that last one in before he went.
Yeah.
But it's the way that all that whole scene went down was just so awful.
What got me was the whole, like, it's pouring rain and he sends his sister to this area, and I'm just like, just thinking mentally, like, just how these situations usually go. Like, she's not a big woman at all. She's a little tiny thing. I'm like, that's sketchy. Like, everything about that was sketchy.
Yeah, for sure. And like, she gets back in the car, and she's like, he spit it out of his mouth. He's like, yeah, they do that. And like immediately starts the whole process of like he's shooting it into his foot. And it's like, it's this whole really uncomfortable scene. Yeah. And even just like when he's trying to convince her to do it too is just so like, and it's rough too, because we just had the Luke episode where he was such a sympathetic character. He's doing his best. He's trying to get sober. He's trying to help other people to also do that. And like, you feel for him so much. And then you see this scene of him trying to convince his sister to buy heroin for him because he owes money to the dude who's selling it. And God, it's tough to watch. And the way he words it too, where he's like, I need to get well.
Yeah, that was rough.
And and then like she gets out of the car and he looks down and he sees all of her prescriptions in her purse, and like you see the thought cross his mind. He's like, should I just snag these prescriptions and leave and go sell them? Like, but he doesn't. You know, he pushes through. But I also like the whole thing. Like he's asking Nell how she's doing, and she's like, I'm not doing great. You know, with Arthur dying and all this other stuff that I've been going through, it's just been awful. And he's like, yeah. So like, here's the thing. I need some heroin and I owe the guy money, so he's not going to sell it to me. And he goes on and he's just like, so here's the thing. Like, you get this from me and I'll do my thing. And then you can tell me all about your problems. Tell me all about it.
Yeah. And, well, he's high as fuck and probably isn't going to remember.
Well, see, that's the thing too, is like she does it. She gets him the stuff. He shoots up. And what's the first thing he says? So no, you still collect those buttons?
Yeah.
Like the most surface level, like superficial shit that you could talk about.
Yeah.
And she's clear, like if he was even slightly aware of his surroundings and other people, he would know she's not doing well at all. Especially with the connection they have. Like and again, it's hard to be too harsh on Luke because when it comes to Luke and Nell, because they share that connection, so they both feel how each other is feeling at any given time. So
it's a very interesting way of how it's portrayed throughout the episodes, because the way the episodes are not in order, it's kind of like it's not an exact chronological order that you get to these scenes later where you're like, oh, this is before this. Okay, so that's why this character is acting like this.
Yeah. Well, from next episode onward, it's good. Aside from the flashbacks to them as kids, it's going to be linear.
Okay. So we've got the backstory done so far.
Yes, we've gotten all the individual episodes that focus on all the siblings, and now we can stick from Nell's wake onward. You know, aside from getting more details about them at Hill House,
and more of what I'm assuming inevitably is going to happen.
Yes. So like as Luke's going on about like after he had done the heroin and he's just rambling on, and then that's I think the first time since Arthur's death that she sees the bent neck lady just standing in the rain. And I think it's kind of vague, but I think this is my interpretation here is that she sees her and she goes, okay, these meds aren't helping because I'm not even in a sleep paralysis state. And there she is. Because at this point, she's as much as she has all her whole life believed like this is a ghost, the Hill House is evil, everything else. She keeps being told, you have a mental illness, take your prescriptions, go to therapy, it'll all go away. And she's been doing that diligently. And it's still there. So that the very next scene we see is her flushing all of her prescriptions. Then we get the whole Steve scene. We get the Theo scene. And then we get another scene with her therapist. Who, fun fact, her therapist is played by the man who played Luke in the 1960s adaptation of The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Which is a very different character. But he actually came out of retirement to do a single day of shooting just to do those scenes with Nell.
I mean, he's very good at what he does for this role. He plays a very convincing therapist.
So she's having that other scene. She's telling him about, I confronted my brother, and I brought Luke to rehab and all this.
I do like how the therapist is so snarky about it too. He's like, "Oh, you did you? So did it? Do you feel better about yourself now?" And it's just
because she's like, "I confronted my brother like you told me. I showed up at one of his book signings and fucking dressed him down in front of everybody." He's like, "I don't think that's what I said."
Like,
not quite what I said.
You feel better about yourself? Like he's very very not impressed by that in the slightest.
Yeah, he's like, that's not what I told you to do at all, but sure. But like they're getting into it, and eventually they're like, well, everything always comes back to Hill House. And she's like, well, you don't know, you've never been there. And he's like, yeah, but you haven't been there since you were 6 years old. It's been almost 30 years. It's just an old carcass of a house. Like, how much power can this house have over you? And I think that conversation is what really gets her gears turning. And that's what she's starting to think. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am just fucking out of my gourd and none of this shit is real. Just like I confronted my brother, as he said, quote unquote, I'm going to go confront the house. So she goes and fucking books a flight to Boston so that she can go to this old, decrepit, falling apart house in the middle of the woods. And actually, because we haven't mentioned it because we haven't really talked much about the flashback scenes. Because at this point, we're starting to get interspersed scenes between the past and the present and they both take place at the same motel. Because when she flies out to go confront the house, she's staying at the same motel that their father brought them to the night they fled Hill House.
Yeah.
I think she's actually staying in the same room, weirdly enough. And we get the scene of Hugh coming back after trying to go and get Liv. And he comes back and he's covered in blood. He's got like bandages and shit on him. And he's like, Nell's the only one who's still awake. And, she's asking him, like, what took you so long? Like, what's going on? Where's mommy? And he's like, she's fine. Everything's fine. Then the police show up. And he's like, I gotta go talk to them. Your aunt's gonna be here. And this is like the sun's like just rising, so it's like maybe 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's like your aunt will be here at 2. Which, by the way, I hope you paid in advance, because most motels and hotels have checkout at no later than 11. So
yeah, it's one of those plot points. It's not important.
Yeah.
I guess the cops are there. They'll have to let it slide.
Well, yeah. I guess he did say that one of the cops would be staying there to watch them, but yeah, basically it's just like, I gotta go and talk to the police at the station. Here's the watch. You can keep track of the time. And she still has this watch. We find out later. And there's like this weird like correlation, but there's a lot of like parallels in this show in general. Because we get earlier when we had the scene of young Nell sleeping on the couch that first night, and they had that whole conversation with the locket, and her mom was like, "Oh, I'll give you this locket when you get older." And then, obviously later on we get the scene of her dad giving her the watch. She still has the watch, but she never got the locket until later.
Yeah, that's what that was.
And we get another scene of her in the motel where she sees the bent neck lady again and is freaking out about it.
Is that the scene where she's getting water?
I think she was getting like a Coke or something out of the vending machine. In one of those, everyone's seen them at some point or another, creepy ass motel hallways.
Yeah, they just go to a vending machine or like a sink or something.
Or an ice machine, or like you gotta walk down this creepy hallway to get to like the pool area. Like every like backwater motel has that exact hallway.
That one was extra creepy though, because it's literally just a dead end, and it's like, well, that's unsettling.
Yeah. So like they have that scene, and this is actually all the way back in episode 1, when Steve tries to call her back, and she bursts in the room all freaking out about it. That's what that was. She had just seen the bent neck lady in that hallway, and that's why she was freaking out and didn't answer the phone. And then she just kind of sits on the bed, and like we see the light changing in the background as she's sitting there, and like, oh, she just kind of like blacked out and just sat there for 12 hours.
Yeah, because we then see like she tries to call Steve and
I think Shirley.
At
that point, at that point, she wasn't talking to Theo, and Luke is in rehab. So
yeah, and it's also because it's also like that's a callback to like the episode 1 where like she calls Luke and he doesn't not Luke, Steve, and he doesn't answer, and then Shirley and she doesn't answer.
Yeah. Actually, these are those phone calls. So then she's like, all right, fuck it. I wasted the whole day. I forgot. So when she wakes up at first in that motel room, she has another sleep paralysis moment, but she doesn't see the bent neck lady. She sees what appears to be Luke stuck to the ceiling, ODing.
Yeah, that was a little unsettling.
And that's why when she calls Shirley and she leaves the voicemail, she says, "I'm worried about Luke."
Now, what was that scene supposed to parallel his freak out from like the night before?
No. That
Okay.
that will be revealed in time.
Okay, so not yet.
But it's at this point where she's like, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares if it's dark? I'll go to Hell House. And then she pulls up. She calls her dad, like we saw in episode 1. And all the lights in Hell House turn on, and the front porch flashes twice. Which
This scene,
previously, that is their mother's signal to come home.
This whole scene of just segment of scenes coming up is one of the most weirdly unsettling scenes in this entire show.
It's unsettling and heartbreaking in every way imaginable.
Well, because we get the whole scenes where she's seeing the family again, and she's having like she gets to have the final dance with Arthur. But it's cutting between. It literally cuts between she's having her hallucination, and then her just dancing by herself in this decrepit mansion. It's like, this is depressing.
Yeah. Because when she first walks in, she's seeing all of her siblings, but as they were when they lived there. So she's seeing all the child versions of these people. And like, she's, her mom comes out and she's talking to her and she's like, oh, like, we have a thing going on. You got to go, and I have something in the second drawer of my dresser. Go put it on and meet us down here. And she goes and puts it on. And then she comes back down, and they're all waiting for her. But now they're all of her siblings are adults, and they're all dressed as they were at her wedding. And they're all having like these like nice moments where it's just like, Steve's like, I'm sorry for dismissing you, and Shirley's like, sorry for not believing you. Theo's like, water under the bridge. Like, everyone's all happy and it's all fine. And she sees Luke and she's like, it worked. You did it, Nell. You did it for me. I'm sober. Everything's good. And then he moves aside and Arthur's standing there. And she is, at this point, she's just like bawling. And they recreate their dance from their wedding reception.
And the whole time this scene's going on, it constantly is like cutting between what's going on in her head and what's actually happening. And whenever it cuts to what's actually happening, it is just depressing.
Yeah. And we actually caught little glimpses of that too back in episode 1 before she actually dies.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, it's a moment where it's like weirdly heartwarming, but extremely unsettling and anxiety inducing, because we all know how this ends. We all know what's coming. We just don't know how it's going to happen.
The second she started climbing that staircase, I was just shaking, man. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't like this. I don't like that at all.
But did you happen to notice towards the end of the dance how when the camera was rotating around them, we were seeing the her brothers, her sisters, her parents, but it kept going. And there was more people than just them. More people than just the family.
Yeah.
One of them in particular happened to be a man with a bowler hat and a cane.
Notice that. There was also that one cut where it cuts to reality and it kind of like zooms off into the distance, and it was kind of just like it was one of those frames where it's just like unsettling framing.
Yeah. But then, like, Arthur backs off, everyone vanishes, the music stops, and she turns around and she sees a little girl sitting at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, the random little girl who I was like, who's that?
Okay. So yeah, she's sitting there, and then her mom comes around the corner. She's like, oh, we have this thing we got to do. Follow me. And they're going up they could go to like the library. They're going up the old spiral staircase that leads up to, I believe, the Red Room. And as they get to the top, and her mom comes around, and she's got the locket, and she's putting it around her neck, and all of a sudden Nell looks down, and suddenly she's behind the railing on the stairs, and the necklace is now a noose.
Yeah.
And her mother kisses her on the head and says, it's time to wake up, dear. And she falls. And this is where the big moment happens. Because she falls, we hear the neck break. And then all of a sudden the world just drops away. And she is hanging in front of herself. And it keeps happening over and over. We see her in the hallway. We see her with Arthur dying. We see her in the car with Luke. We see, all the way through, and then this is when the connection hits. It's like Nell was the bent neck lady all along.
Yeah, which it's kind of one of those reveals where you're like, that makes a lot of sense when you actually think about it.
Hmm.
But then you don't know exactly what to think of it. You're just kind of like,
And then the episode ends with her face to face with the child version of herself from the very first night in Hill House, where she screams. And it was just, and then it, like with the context of how the episode started with that exact scene, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot of sense of why you would just scream at a child like that. Like, no, you were screaming at the sheer horror of what you were experiencing.
The whole, it's literally like this insanity of like she's been being chased by her own death her entire existence.
Yeah, which
is unsettling.
Yeah, extremely. Like the whole concept of like a fated death is just fucking terrifying no matter the circumstances. But when you're actually getting the full extent of that in the moment of your death, it's like, fuck.
Well, it's like this thing that's been terrorizing me my entire life literally drove me to exactly this outcome.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of like closed loop situations. Now, so it's never really fully explained. Do we think, is this a time travel situation? Or is it that the house knew all along that this is how it was going to end? It was just showing her.
I want to say more the latter because I'm not getting time travel vibes from the story they're trying to tell.
Okay. That's kind of
if anything, this is like one giant symbolism thing.
Yeah. I get that.
Because I knew the bent neck lady was a hanging victim. That's just a common trope.
Yeah, it's very obvious. I mean, the whole concept of a bent neck lady is like, no, her neck is broken because she was hung. Like, it's very clear.
I didn't make the connection that Nell was the bent neck lady until she started climbing that staircase, and I was like,
wait a minute.
Because we knew she dies in the house somehow. That was a fucking graphic effect, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was. Dude, this is the episode that, like, when I first saw this show, I was like, I did not expect that at all. And it's rare for something to catch me completely up, because usually I can kind of like, even if it's a last minute putting together the situation, usually I'm pretty good about figuring that shit out. But this was like, no, I had no inclination until right before it happened. And even then, like, it still felt more like the ghost is trying to kill her the same way it died, as opposed to, no, the ghost is just her.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too, where it's like, it's a thing that we've known has happened since episode 1, and we're finally getting the payoff, but it's not a satisfying payoff. It's very much I just feel empty inside.
Yeah.
It's the Wham episode.
Yeah, for sure. Next episode is going to be an interesting one, because it's the episode with her wake, where they're all going to be together.
Because it's been all these converging plot lines, and now we're finally getting the convergence.
Yes, and they do some interesting things with the technical filming aspect of the next episode, where, well, I'll just let it be as it. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
But it's very interesting how they handle the next episode in terms of the filming and arrangement of it.
Yeah, no, I get that. So yeah, I guess that was another interesting episode. It's funny because I think the segment was longer than our actual topic discussion, but
it was close.
There was more to say in this episode than there was in that volume of Dungeon Crawlers or Dungeon Crawler Carl. So
yeah.
Yeah, but I guess on that note, once again, guys, thank you for joining us on I almost said gaming collecting, Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms. Check us out on the Superpod Network, and check out all the awesome shows, videos, blogs, all the fun stuff over there at the network. But Anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
Have a good one.